3 quarts so far. Those are the ones we couldn't keep up with, so they're doing pretty good. Got my vine peaches, and I think I had 1 bean seed in the vine peaches, so I just left it. You know, I'm pulling a few of these vine peaches. I kept planting them and kept planting them, and the squirrels kept getting them, and I got really frustrated, and so I just dumped a whole pile of seeds. I was like, one of these has to survive. It's always slow, so if you plant echinacea seeds and everything else is coming up and you're not seeing your echinacea, it's always slow coming up. Every year I get worried. If they're slow to come out, just don't worry. They're probably going to come up. I got this mint. I keep trying to pull it away from my parsley because it choked out my parsley one year. Same thing about over here with my horehound. My horehound's doing good. Marshmallows are looking really good as always. Need to come out here and get some of these. As Danny from Deep South Homestead says, we aren't growing leaves, we're growing tomatoes. So I try to get those bottom ones off. So there's my new ones in here. Doing okay. I'm not going to break off their bottom leaves until they've had a few weeks to grow. I don't want. They've already had 1 shock being transplanted. My kale. Look at this. See, this is ants. Look, ants have gone and made a little home ant nest, whatever we want to call it, on a carrot. They're eating. See, look, wait. See, this is why you can't grow carrots in the summer in Texas. And look, they've got their little ant stuff all around it. See all those like little ant larvae things or whatever they are? And look at them all coming out of there. See if I can. That's what they do. That's what they do in Texas. So that's why you have to grow your root vegetables in the winter. That is really gross. Look at all that junk. I don't know, whatever ants do. I'm not all into ants. I mean, they're beneficial and stuff, but they sure are annoying. That was a nice big carrot. I am going to, what I was fixing to say is most of my greens are going to seed. This is mustard. I already pulled enough mustard to dry. I don't save a whole bunch of those. I'll probably just let those dry on this plant and then come out and get them. My kale, we're not big kale eaters. We'll mix it in with stuff, but I have noticed if I plant kale with my iceberg and my red lettuce, things will eat the kale and leave my lettuces alone. So the kale is sort of like a sacrificial lamb to protect my stuff, but most of the greens are going to seed now because it's just getting too hot. Cheers. I'm still doing good. And all of my elderberries flowers are looking really pretty. Get some beans because I got a ton of them. Look, I got my blackberries are going pretty good. Last year, this is what happened last year. They just sort of started out and then they dried up. But this year, it looks like I'm gonna get some. So there's some nice ones. I didn't get the last time I came out here, this whole thing was overflowing. I'm going to show you real quick. Another way to saving arugula seeds is I finally had to pull that rogue plant because it was sucking up all the water from where the beans were. And if you remember, I couldn't get any beans to grow. So I finally had to pull it up. And you can see I'm just letting it dry in here. This is the other way, but you can see down here, that's what I was talking about. When you do that, you lose a lot of pods and they split open and you lose the seed. So I might have a bunch of arugula growing in here next year, who knows. I probably need to harvest some more flowers. These are starting to turn into berries. Oh, these are turning into berries. I did get some flowers because if you remember I was talking about these are all going to berries. No, that's good. I pulled some in, they've been just drying in a box, and the bees really like this. Those are really pretty. Back inside, and I'm going to show you dried. I looked at them on the tree, and they were nice, and they smell sort of like a lilac when they're on there. They're really nice smelling. Easiest way is just what I do, since we have such hot Texas heat, and I just get a bunch of them because, you know, they come in those big clusters. So if you hang them upside down to dry like you would do normal herbs, all of these flowers will just fall off. You can see just moving them, see them, they're just coming off there. So the best way to do it is just to get, like I use the top of a banker box or a large tray or something like that, and just spread out the clusters and just let them dry. And then once they're dry, you just sort of roll them right off the little twigs that they're on. I'm just using a Pyrex measuring cup to put them in. Get these off, and I'll just show you the little, some things when you're like drying them to get them off the little twigs, it's a little harder, but elder flowers just come right off. So it's not a real hard twig, it's more rubbery. I'd say I left most of these out there for about a week. I do not use elder leaves for anything, just I use the berries medicinally, and for food you have to cook the berries or they will be, you can't eat them right off the tree like normal berries. You cannot eat them raw, they're poisonous. So you have to cook elderberries, boil them, or dry them. You can dry them and then use them in some teas and things like that. So most people that use them in jams and jellies and pies as a fruit, you boil them really well, cook them down. The elder flowers from the elderberry tree you can use medicinally in teas. I use elder flowers in cold and virus and flu type fighting medicinal teas. It's also good in skin salves. It has, elderflowers have anti-inflammatory properties. That's what they look like. You'll have a few little twigs in there. You can pull those out. I just store mine in a mason jar. Just a couple of weeks, I would say, to get enough for the year. This has been Angie from Canterbury Trails. Thanks for joining us.